Welcome to today's video. I'll be talking about what qualities women find unattractive in male partners. Welcome to my channel where I talk about topics that help you elevate in all areas of your life, your mind, your body, your spirit, and your relationships. Now, today is about relationships. And before I jump in, I want to say this is for the woman who has done healing work, who is more conscientious, who understands some of her patterns, some of her wounding, and is trying to find a partner or is in a relationship with someone and she doesn't feel quite right. She doesn't feel quite satisfied. And this is to give you some insight into maybe what you're experiencing in a man that you don't find attractive. I say a healed, conscious woman because when we haven't healed, we often find qualities that are attractive that are part of our trauma or part of our wounding. And so what I might find really attractive in a man, if I have wounds attached to my dad, might not be the best things. And so these are qualities that if you've done your work, if you've invested in your self-development in some way, and you've healed part of your trauma, these are 4 things that you're likely to find bothersome in a man or in your current relationship. So let's dive into the first one. The first thing that we find really unattractive is when we don't have space in the relationship to share our feelings. So if we share our feelings and don't feel safe, if the person we're sharing our feelings with gets defensive or they don't take responsibility, what this communicates to us is that we don't have a safe space to be open, to be in that feminine energy. And so being able to really express ourselves emotionally makes us feel protected and supported and provided for. And if you're in a relationship and you're not getting this, it's going to be bothersome because what it's going to do is it's either not going to give you a chance to fully be vulnerable, so not fully be able to let your guard down and to express and to feel safe, but it also might make you feel like what you're feeling isn't validated. It might make you feel crazy. You know, a popular term right now is to feel gaslit. And I know while it's definitely overused, the core of it creates a real problem for people because they feel like they can't express themselves fully without being judged, attacked, or criticized. So when you have a relationship where you can just openly express yourself and you feel held, you feel empathized with, you feel heard and understood, that allows us to step further into the relationship and really gives us an ability to be our full expression of ourselves. When we don't feel safe emotionally, we start to hide or we get distracted and we might turn to another person, maybe a friend, a family member, someone else who is giving us that emotional feedback, that emotional sense of security. To be in the healthy feminine means we need room to express ourselves. This is not to give you permission to be crazy, to be jealous and wild. It's not like that. That's why we have to be conscious. So an example would be, I come to my husband, I've been feeling agitated, I've been feeling a little disconnected from him. And I come and I express my emotions. I say, I'm sad. And maybe I cry. Maybe I'm a little frustrated. And ideally, he responds to me in a really loving way. He holds me. He just listens to me. He empathizes and understands rather than fix, rather than get defensive, or instead of just shutting me down completely. The second quality that women find very frustrating and not attractive is when we always have to initiate, plan, and lead the relationship. Now, there's aspects of the relationship and of our life that we want to lead. But almost every woman I know, and maybe you resonate with this, almost every woman I know makes so many decisions. If she owns her own business, if she works, if she has kids, if she has friends, there's so many little decisions that she makes on a day-to-day basis. And so when it comes to her primary relationship, she wants to be able to let him lead sometimes. So if you've come home from work and you haven't figured out dinner and you ask your partner, what do you want for dinner? The most frustrating answer I think a lot of us get is, I don't know, what do you want? And that is what I'm talking about here. It's that not having a partner who will step in and start to initiate and plan. And what that really does is that takes burden and responsibility off of ourselves. And when we have that, we feel like we can be more present. We can be more warm and soft. I'm sure everyone watching this has had some woman in their life who's in that type A, has to get everything done, is always kind of hurrying. Sometimes that is just a personality type. Sometimes that's due to trauma and wounding early on. And sometimes that's because they don't have a partner who is picking up the slack. And so they're taking all the responsibility of their life, their relationship, and their family on their own shoulders. So if this resonates at all with you, I encourage you to ask your partner, what areas of your shared life do you want them to start taking the lead on? How can they support you by taking things off of your plate? And the key is if you're asking them to help and they help, don't nitpick how they do it. It's okay if they do it differently than you. It's okay if they don't maybe do it as perfectly as you. You have to take things off of your plate. There's two people responsible here. The other person who's taking responsibility needs to be consistent, and the person giving responsibility away needs to let them take it. So when you have a partner who is willing to support you, who is willing to come in, take things off of your plate and start to initiate more in life, maybe it's within intimacy, maybe it's with planning dates, maybe it's things with the family. Start to give more things for your partner to lead on. A true man and his masculine really wants to lead. When a man gets passive, it makes us feel unsafe. And so you might notice both of these so far has to do with a woman feeling really safe. And so the best relationships are the ones where we feel safe. We feel safe physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And so if you're looking for a partner or you have a partner, ask them to lead and let them lead. Again, it doesn't mean you're letting them lead every area of life. There's going to be areas that you're leading to, but don't take control over all of it. Let some of the responsibilities go. The third thing that a lot of women find very unattractive is when the partner that they're with are engaging in activities or leisure time that doesn't expand them in any way. So an example that I hear often is they're just watching football Saturday and Sunday all day long, or they get home from work and they're just playing video games. I understand that everyone needs leisure activities. And it's not to say don't watch sports, don't play games, but for the man in our life, we want to feel like they have time and energy going to things that expand them as a human. The feminine really controls and is so good at evolving internally. So we're likely to reach out to therapists, to coaches, to spiritual mentors first. And the masculine usually follows our lead in the best ways. But we can't lead the charge all the time. We have to feel like they care about taking care of their minds, of their bodies, of their souls, their hearts, and their spirits. And so oftentimes I have clients that come in and they're complaining about their partners, or they're trying to understand, should I care about this? Why am I so triggered that he's just been on the couch all day? Should I let this go? No. If it's happening consistently and you're starting to lose respect, admiration, or starting to lose attraction for him, you need to communicate this, because it is an essential quality of the man that we choose. If you're strong, if you're ambitious, you're going to want a partner who is going to progress all on their own. You might inspire, you might motivate, but you are not pulling the whole time. If you're in a relationship where you see this, communication is key. And it's asking someone, how do you want to change? What areas do you think you need to improve upon? And it's not about calling the therapist for them and setting the appointment and then making sure they go. That's where we get into more nagging or pushing. It's about seeing, does someone really want to step up and grow? And if you're watching this and you're still watching this, I'm going to guess that you're someone who really cares about growth. So the person that you're going to be attracted to long-term needs to as well. The fourth quality that women find really unattractive is when they don't get any support from their partner. Now, many women I work with are very ambitious, highly motivated, and very, very independent. And what that has done is it makes them feel like they have to do everything on their own and they never ask for help. As a result, they feel more tense, they're not present, they're stressed, they're worried, and just in their face and in their energy, you can tell they're really, really tight. They're making so many decisions. And so if you have a place and a relationship where you can just say, hey, I'm really needing support with this. And they say, okay, yes, I'm here. I'm with you. Tell me more. That is going to be such an attractive quality for us. On the other hand, if you have someone who won't step up, who cannot support you, who won't support you, who doesn't indicate any motivation to try to understand how they can support you, that's going to make us feel alone. That's going to make us feel unsafe. And that's going to make us feel like we have to be hyper independent. And that's not what we really want. We want more balance. And so if you have a relationship that you're in and you find yourself going to family members and friends consistently over them to ask for support, that indicates something's amiss and something needs to be corrected, because ultimately the man that you're wanting to create your life with, that you want to do life with, you need to feel like they can support you. And they have to be able to listen to how they specifically can support you. Don't expect someone just to know exactly how to handle every mood that you have or every request that you have. And don't expect someone to do it 100% of the time. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying they have to feel safe enough. You have to trust them enough and you have to respect them enough to give them the space to support you. And you have to be able to tell them if what they've done feels really supportive or if they can change it. An example I have is a client who grew up in a chaotic household. He was abused. He learned that, oh, in order to protect my partner, I need to be ready to fight other people. For her, him wanting to fight other people made her feel more unsafe. And so he was trying to support her. And it wasn't until they had a really good conversation to like unearth some of these patterns and how they could correct it. So the intent was there. He wanted to support her. He wanted to keep her safe, but he had to learn a better way that he could actually support her that was more in alignment with how she needed support. So all four of these has to do with our emotional safety, our physical safety, and our sense of support. Because so many women love to be independent, love to be motivated and self-driven, which is amazing. Just because we can do all these things doesn't mean we have to. Having a partner in our life who can support us, who can expand alongside of us, who can initiate, plan, and execute so we're not having to do all of it, and who can really hear us, that can hold our feelings and be that steady, grounded presence. Those are what makes us feel so alive, so connected to ourselves, because we have someone taking care of things, and so we can take care of the other things. That's where a real team comes in. Both people aren't doing the same thing all the time. They're oscillating between who's the leader and who's the support. So those are the four qualities that we find really unattractive. And if you think about them, if you think about the idea of having a relationship and a man that supports us, who is there to pick up the pieces when we need, and that we can communicate exactly how they need to support us. If you have someone who expands alongside of you, who wants to continue to grow in all the ways, who initiates, plans, and executes so you're not having to do all the things, you're not having to make all the decisions, and someone who you can fully express, be vulnerable, share your feelings, and they can hold it, that is going to feel like a really strong relationship, a really amazing partner. And when you have that, in my experience, when you have those four things, you can do anything because you have someone on your team. You have someone who's backing you up. If you have any of those 4 qualities in your current relationship or in someone that you're thinking about dating, it doesn't mean you have to let the relationship go, but it means you have to start course correcting. And this isn't just to put the blame on them. Ask yourself, what are you doing to perpetuate the imbalance? So it always takes 2. And I hope you walk away with this video having an idea about what it is about the relationship that's working and what about the relationship is not working. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, leave a comment and I'll see you next time.